for classes videos, and I have shared this link also along with you guys. This is the link, and you people can go to this link and you can just see the videos or whichever part you missed. And the PDF I will send you immediately after the class. So yesterday we did something very important topic, that is how our JavaScript code is being executed. We learned about execution stack, and afterwards we started doing execution context in detail, how exactly everything happens. So it is having two phases. First is the creation phase, and second is execution phase. In creation phase, there are three subphases. First one is creation of variable objects, scope chain, and determine the value of this keyword. So we did creation of variable objects. In variable objects, we see a function declarations. What happened to function declaration? A pointer, a variable object is created pointing to that functions. If and to the variable declaration, what happened? A variable object will be declared, and it will set to undefined if no value is present. And these two things are also known as hoisting. And afterwards, I gave a couple of examples. So yesterday we just did it in PPT, but we didn't do it in actual code. So today we will start off first hoisting with functions and variables. I will show you an example. Same example, but again it's a revision for you. It is a new topic. So first of all, we will start with functions. I hope every screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
So what I will do now, I will create a function like calc age, and I'm accepting 1 year. I will get 1 year, and here I will just do console.log 2020 minus year. So this is our first form. And if I do calc age, pass the year 1995, and execute this. Here I will do node my hoisting, and I will get 25, no issues. But second way, what I will do, I will just copy this same, because I'm not changing my function at all. It will be exactly same. All what I'm changing, the way I'm calling this function. Now I'm calling this function before the function declaration. Now again I will do node my hosting, and I will get 25. So why exactly it is happening? Because variable object will be created at the time of parsing, and it will be pointing to this function. That's all. And if pointer is pointing to the function call, what it does, it just go to that function and execute that function. Now third case with expressions. What are function expressions? Which have assignment operator in between. So I will say var, again I will just comment it out, and I will say calc age equals to function, and here I will do again console.log 2020 minus year. As I'm expecting some argument, I will put it here. Now if I have to call this function, I will just take this variable name calc age and pass the parameter whatever we want. Now executing, and again I will get 25, our desired output. Again I will copy, comment it out, our fourth case, paste it. Now instead of calling this function, after this function expression, I will be calling it for it. And again, I execute. And here, I will get an error. It says calc age is not defined. And the reason is this because we are using a var keyword. So what actually happens, undefined will be coming in ES6, ES6 feature that we'll be doing just after this. So at the time it will be using this let keyword. I will tell you at the time it will be coming as undefined. For right now, just see we are getting calc age is not a function. It's because we are defined before the function expression. Now coming to variables. With a variable, what is our example? What I will do, I will first of all I will create one variable var age is equals to 20. And now if I do console.log age, we will get 20 as expected. But how about if I call the function this variable name before the actual declaration? At the time we will get undefined. Why we get undefined? Because variable object will be created and it will set to undefined. It will not have any, although we are having some value, but as the parser has not executed this line, it has only what parser has done, it has only saw that there is a variable with the name age. It has not assigned the value. The value will be assigned when the pointer will be coming after executing all the steps from the top to bottom. When it will come to this line number 40, at the time age will be defined to 20. Until then, it will be undefined. So this is how we do variable object is being created. Third case, what I will do, I will copy this, paste it. Here I will just uncomment it, and I will create one function o, and here first of all I will do console.log age, then I will say var age, and I will say 65, console.log age again. I will call this function. After calling this function, again I will console.log age. So let's see our output. So first of all, we are getting undefined. Here, age we are getting undefined. Why exactly it is happening? Because we are within this function, and within this function there is no concept of age. It is a this age variable is outside of the function right now. It is not within the function. If I do var age equals to 20, at the time we will not get undefined. At the time we will get 20. But right now, as we are within the function and this function is not having scope, again it is the next topic. Just for right now, just remember that as we are this is a separate block, and this is a separate block. As we are in separate block, there is no variable age defined. As it is not defined, we will get undefined. Afterwards, we are doing var age equals to 65, and afterwards we are doing console.log age. We are getting 65. At last, we are again in this global scope. As we are in global scope, we will get 20, because this range, as this is a block, this var age equals to 65 is having only this much scope, only 2 line scope, and it will not come out of the, and its scope is not outside of the function. And that's why we use functions more often, because if we need a predefined scope for some variable, we will use a function. So this was how about variable declarations, creation of variable objects, which is known as hoisting. So I did all these examples. Now coming to the lexical scoping, that is scope of a variable, till where one variable will be having a scope. So now this is our small program, var a equals to hello, and then I'm doing first, I'm just calling the function. So it doesn't matter if we are calling the function before the function declaration or after the function declaration, because it is pointing to the function. So we can do wherever we want. So I'm calling the function, and afterwards function declaration. In function declaration, what I've done, I have created one more variable var b high, and then I'm again calling this second function second var c hey, and I'm doing console.log a plus b plus c. So as we can see, it is the most outermost. It is in global scope var a and function first. So in global scope, this variable, that is var a, will be having a variable scope, variable object of scope global. A has been defined. Now coming to the second scope, that is within this function first. Then a variable object b will be created, which will be having the scope within this first function. That's all. So a will be still here because it is in global scope, and then b will be created within this function first, and then we are calling second. As soon as we will come to second, c, a variable object of type c will be defined having the scope only within this second function. So that's why we will be having a equals to b, a equals to hello, b equals to hi, and c equals to hey. But if we will defining c after, let's say, var a equals to hello, and then I'm doing console.log c, what I should get? I should get undefined, or an error. Why? Because there is no scope of c outside of the second function or the first function. So let's execute this program. So first of all, I will create one variable var a equals to hello. Then I will call the function first. Function first. Then I will say var b equals to hi. I will call the second function. Within the first function, creating a second function. And here I will do var c equals to a. Afterwards, doing console.log a plus b plus c and executing. I have not given the space, so I will give the space bit. Now we can clearly see hello, hi, hey. What is exactly happening? A is having scope as it is in global. It will be having a scope within this first function and the second function. Now B will be having scope within this. So what I will do here, I will, after calling this function, I will say console.log B. What should be the output? If I'm doing console.log B, if I do console.log B, what should be the output? Are you people understanding? What? Hello? Guys, are you there? Hi. Stop. Shreya, are you there? Nihal? Then what's the output? Tell me. Krishna. First time, yeah. Others, I need response from everyone, right? So what's the output, Krishna? First time, Chetan, yeah. So first and high. Correct. But how about if I do console.log C. Now what should be the output? What's the output? Undefined, 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 undefined. Okay. And we will get an error that C is not defined. Why C is not defined? Because we are within this first function and we are calling C here, whereas C has been declared here, that is within the second function. And within the second function, we this variable object of C will be created and it will be having the scope only within this curly braces, that is one block. Within the curly braces, we say one block, second block, and like this it will carry on. So we will not even get undefined because we are extracting some variable C which is not having a scope in first function. Similarly, if I do like this console.log and I will say B, what should be the output? So I'm printing out this b variable in the global scope that is outside of the first function. What should be the output? Undefined, undefined. So again I will execute, again I will get an error which says b is not defined. But if I do something like this, var b, and again I will execute, at the time I will get undefined. So there's a difference between undefined and then error. You people are saying undefined. Undefined is a value which we get when there is when pointer can point to that variable and it doesn't find a value. But we are getting an error here which says reference error, v is not defined. So there's a difference between undefined and an error. So if you are don't say undefined every time, there's sometimes an error also. You should write error. Error is the correct answer. And what type of an error it is? It is a reference error because it is not able to find that particular variable. But what is happening in this case? I'm doing console.log b. As I told you, we are defining b after we are printing. So what parser does? Parser will come here, line number 57. It will see a variable a. It will just assign it. Then it will call this function. Then it will come to this line. It will well, console.log, it will do nothing. Parser will come here. It will see there is a variable b, and like this, it will just assign a variable objects along with it. But when after all the things have been done, all the hoisting has been done, it has been converted into the machine code, and machine code will get executed. It will see that parser has told that there is a variable b, but we can't find its value, so it will give us undefined. But if you are doing like this, as I told you, two variable objects will be created here. One is a and one is first function. That's all. And we are trying to printing out something which is not present. And if we do like this, we will get a reference error. So this is all about scoping. And scoping is something which is very important in JavaScript because we will be writing a function within a function. So we should know which all elements we can extract and which all elements we don't have a scope and we can't use them. So that's why scoping is something which is very integral in JavaScript. You should know. And how you will get to know more about this? You have to create a function within a function and you have to try to execute those programs. Just make your own program, simple programs, a function within a function. What I've done, like first function, second function. You can also go ahead and create a third function or the fourth function, one below the another. So this is all about scoping. It will take some time. So as we can see, scope chain is something like upward arrow. What does it mean? It means have lowest, which is a variable object which is at lowest, will be having the lowest range, that is only till here. Then the variable which is bit above will be having the scope below it. So second function is the below, so it will be having this much scope. Function first will be having this much scope, and global will be having the full scope. So this arrow signifies how means what is the scoping, means range. Now comes the execution stack versus scope chain. As I told you, again I will explain what is execution context, execution stack, and scope chain. Scope chain, lexical scoping and scope chain are exactly the same. It's a name that varies. So here we did execution context. So what is happening? We are having var name, first function, second function, and the third function. So in global scope, we will be having 4 variable objects, that is name, first, second, and third. Pointer will be coming to the first line of one global context will be created, name equals to John. Now what is happening? Now we are calling this function. It will come here. As soon as it will come here, each function will be having its own execution context. That's why functions are used. So because they will be having their own range and own parameters, we don't want to conflict with our global variables. So as soon as we are calling the first function, this first execution context will be created. And once it is created, it will do its task. What is the task? Variable a equals to hello. Variable a will be defined. Afterwards, this first function has not yet finished. We are calling the second function. So as function first has not yet finished, we will go to the third stage of execution context. So second execution context will be created upon the first. And here what will happen? As we are calling the second, var b will be get assigned b equals to high, and again our b function second function has not yet finished, but we are calling the third function. Now again, one more layer will be added on the top of the second execution context. Here we are saying var c equals to hey and z equals to c plus name. That's the role of C. That's all. So what we are doing, once this third function has been completed, pointer will again come back to the second. And as we know what functions are used for, it will execute certain type, it will just execute whatever the block of code we are having. And again, the pointer will be coming to this line. Let's say this is line number 5, 5 plus 1, that is 6th. And it will come here. Then again C will be get executed, and now this second function has completed. As the second function has been completed, execution context of second function will be removed off from the stack. Now third and the second execution context has been gone. What we are left with, first and the global. Now once it is done, pointer will be coming below this line, that is after this function call. And here it will do its task, that is var x equals to a plus name. Once this is done, we are left with this function first has been called here. So what it will do, it will notify that function has been finished, and pointer will move on to the next line. There is no next line, so what will happen? From execution context first will be removed off, and as our program has been finished, global context will also go off. And that's why this is something nesting of the functions. We are calling one function in another from another function, one function inside another function. So that's why we have to be very much careful, because as it is getting executed one upon the other, our memory eventually can become full. And if our memory is become full, we will not able to execute other tasks if there are here, which will cause breakage in program or slower rate of processing, all that stuff. So this is about execution context, and we just now learned what is scope chain, how one variable is scoped with respect to another variable. So as we saw, means execution context will keep on piling one upon the another. It will just go off like this. Whereas scope chain, what will happen? It will create a variable, will be creating its own scope, that it will be defined only within this curly braces, line number 5 to 10, like this. So execution context is something different, and scope chain is also different. These are not equal, although both are having the same process. What is the same process? That filling up the variable objects have been defined. So execution stack, you can say order in which functions are called, whereas scope chain is the order in which functions are written lexically. What do you mean by lexically? Lexically means with respect to another, relative, as we can say, one related to one another. Are you people understanding? It's it's a bit of difficult topic we are doing today. Any people, anyone is having any doubt? Please let me know. I will explain again, but it is necessary to understand. Are people getting?
Yes, sir.
Others? Guru, are you getting? See guys, it can be a bit difficult to understand also. All what you have to do after the class, you have to just see all this PDF and you have to try to understand. Otherwise, you will forget it. Now coming to the this keyword. So we have seen first two steps, that is creation of variable objects and creating of creation of scope change. Now coming to the determination and determine the value of this keyword. We have already used this keyword in one of our coding problem and you will have solved. Now we will see extension, means what more we can do with the help of this keyword. So regular function call. What is regular function call? This keyword points to a global object, the window object in the browser. For this, I will just open this, my Chrome. I will go to inspect elements. I will go to my console. So this is our browser, and within the browser, all of our web pages runs. So, and this browser is nothing but a window, right? So this is something known as window. Everything which is wrapped around this is it is a window at large. So there is something known as window object, and this is by default because our code will be running in the browser, and browser are made in such a way that whatever the code it is there, it should execute within this window. It should not harm anything else, like our internal like our local things, whatever we are having eh, behind the background. Our all this CPU, all these things runs which are having their own process. If we go to our task manager, we can see so many processors are running here, and all these processors will be having their own local environment within our computer. And as we know, means there's quite a lot of hacking, all these things going on. So browser are made in such a way that whatever code we are trying to execute, means they are trying their best, should execute within this window. So window is automatically formed in our browser and our code will be running within this. And what is this window? Window is actually our current browser, and this is our regular function call. Means whenever our code is being executed in the web browser, a window object is created within the browser. This keyword will be pointing to global object. Our global object is this window. Now after this, coming to the method call. What are method call? Method, as I have told you, functions within an object are called methods. And as window is a global, it is a global, and within the window, our own functions will be running, like first function, second function, what I have defined here. So these functions will be within this window object. And as it is within the window object, we will call this method. So this keyword points to the object This is object that is calling the method. This keyword is not assigned to a value until a function where it is defined is actually called. So for that, I will again go back. I will comment this out and I will go to the Visual Studio. All I will do console.log. And here we are getting this empty object. Sorry. So why we are getting this empty object? We are getting this empty object because till now our file is empty. It's empty. So we have this global and we are within this global window. You can say our local global window. And right now it's empty. We are not having any type of configurations like browser. Browser will be having so many internal configuration, watch, on, click, all that stuff. So there we are getting some bunch of an objects. You can see parent window or optional top window, all this stuff. So right now we are getting this. If we do this, we will getting an empty object. So now coming to the method call, let's do with the help of these programs. So we have done this much. Calculate age 1985 function, calculate age, year, and console.log all. I will again do this one. Calc age 1995. And now I will do the function declaration. Calc age is the name of the function. I'm expecting some argument. And then I will do log 2020 minus year. And afterwards, I will do console.log this. Console.log this. Now if I do it, note my hosting, and now just see what actually is happening. Earlier, if we did console.log this, we are getting an empty because there was nothing else, so empty object. But now we are within this function. This is a function which is having a scope of global. So it says object is of type global. Why object? Because when we did console.log this, it is giving us an empty object. This is an object. So it is an object of type global, means it is having a global scope. As we can see, why it is having a global scope? Because we have declared this function in the global scope. We are not having any other function, one like function A and function B. There is no nesting of functions. We are within the global scope of the function. So it will say this variable is an object of type having the scope global, and these are something internally whatever this variable is having, we are not concerned about this. This will be helpful in web development. Once we will do React, at the time also this keyword will be helpful, but we will do with respect to functions, not like this. So all you have to see that this keyword is having a scope global, and these are some of its properties which are not necessary to understand. That's all. But now we will go to second example. Second example, what we are doing, we have created an object. An object is having few of the properties. One is name, year of birth, calculate age, and I'm doing console.log this. After this much, what I'm doing, I'm creating inner function within this calculate age. And again, I'm doing console.log this. So here I will create an object var John, name is equals to John, year of birth 1990, and calc age. Function within an object are called as method. This is a method. As it is a method, no need to give the name. And here, first of all, I will do calc age. Sorry, 2020 minus this dot main. As we know, this within an object will simply give us this object. So this dot name is something like John dot name. Again, I will do log this, and within this I will create one more function. So function InnoFun, here I will do log this, and now I will call this function within this calc age on. So I will say InnoFun. Now, in order to execute this, calc age, what should I type? Means how do we execute a method? Can someone tell me the code? John.calcage. Others, see, I need at least 3-4 responses so that I can carry on. I can get to know. So John, object name, and the key name. Our key name is calcage. Like this. Now, if I will do like calculate, what will happen? It will execute this, but within this function will also get executed because we are calling this function here. But before calling it, I want to know the output of this. What should be the output of this keyword here? I have done in previous class also. So what should be the output? And in above case also we just did, although it was a function. So this here refers to what's the output of this John object. Sure, it's a John object. Others, please verify. Others, please verify it's a John object itself or something else. You can see here. I'm asking the output of this. What should be the print? What should be printed here? John object, John object, John object. Okay. So let me execute. What I will do, I will just right now comment this out. And definitely it's a John object. That is name equals to John, year of birth, and calcage is a function. Right, correct. And just see here we are getting NaN. Till now I have not shown you an error NaN. NaN stands for not a number. And exactly it's not a number because 2020 I have done it's a number, but this dot name is a string. So number minus string, it's something undefined, which parser also doesn't know what exactly it is. So it should be year of birth. Now if I again do, now I will comment out this code as if people know, and let's invoke this inner function. If I do inner function, just see a very strange things happening. What exactly it is? When we are within this method, only within this method, not nested inside this method, at the time we are having a range of this object, of this whole object. But when we are having a function, it's a function, it's not a method. Why it's not a method? Because we are writing a function keyword, and along with that we are giving the function name. So it's not a method. So both are different things. When we are writing a function, it is having a scope of global. And how I can prove you? What I will do, I will do var color equals to green. Okay. Now, if I'm saying that this function is having a scope of global, it means that var color is in global scope, so it should be able to print out this value. So I will do that only. I will do console.log. I will do this. This refers to global, and I will say color. If I'm in global scope, I should be able to get the value green, or else I should get undefined. And we are getting undefined. So what I've done, I will not write this keyword. This refers to that we are in within this object in this object that is global. And if you are in global, we are having a variable name known as color, and I'm getting this color equals to green. Same thing I will do here also. Color equals to red I will do. And definitely we are getting green itself, because and it is not overriding it also. Why it is not overriding? Because the color is in global scope, this color, and this color is within this object. So both are completely different, and hence we are getting the green itself. We are not getting red. It is not overriding. So you have to remember what you have to remember here. You have to remember that in a method, range of this is within this object. But if we are having a function within a method, it will be having a scope of global. it is hard to understand. All you have to do is a bit of practice. So coming to the last case here, although I've done already, means I've shown you, we have created one variable John, and we are doing console log this, and this will give us a John object. Now we have done this complex topic, and anyone is having any doubt, or should I have to explain again? Others? So after the class, just hear this recording 2-3 times more so that you can get familiarity with familiarity of this keyword. Most importantly, this keyword. Lexical scoping is also important, but not that much. Whereas this keyword will be very, very helpful for you. Or watch, or just search on Google if you wish for extra information, but that is not required. Now, in programming, our main motto is that write as much small code as much possible. We have to minimize our code. First of all, it is helpful for us also as a developer. We don't have to type so much, we're not clustering our code. And secondly is compiler. Means whatever we are having, a compiler or a parser. In JavaScript, we are having the parser. It will take less time to execute, less time to conversion of high-level language into the machine code. So it is beneficial for us also and for the compiler also. So we know how to create an object, and within an object method. So we have done one problem. What is that problem? That calculating the BMI, I guess. Tip calculator, sorry. So here I'm doing something different. What I am doing, I have created one variable John, and name is equals to John, date of birth equals to this, and console to log this. And afterwards, I am calculating the age. And John.calcage will definitely give us this output. But now what I'm doing, I have created one more object mark, and I'm only doing name equals to the mark, and date of birth equals to 1995. And now I'm using mark.calcage. Mark.calcage is a method. Calcage is a method which is present in John. So we have to somehow, and we have not defined this calcage in the mark object. But what we are doing, we are saying mark.calcage equals to John.calcage. So as we are using assignment operators, if I do mark.calcage equals to 2, then calcage will be a number. It's a string, as is it in double quotes. Method I'm creating one object var John equals to name is equals to John. Okay. Year of birth equals to 1990. Calcage is a method. And here, first of all, I will do console.log this to see what this contains. and then I'll do log 2020 minus this dot yob. This is our object. Now I will do var mark, and here I will do only name equals to mark, and year of birth I will give as 1980. I will call this calc age of John.calc age. Now, if I'm doing John.calc age, we are getting the two outputs. What is the first output? And tell me the second output also. Sir, John name is not a string. Thank you. So if I'm doing John.calc age, I'm first of all I'm consoling out this keyword value and then 2020 minus this dot year. So what is the output of first and second console.log? This is pretty simple. So 30 will be here, and this console.log this, it will be, you people are already told, right? If I'm doing console.log this, what should be the output?
John object.
John object. Are people getting? Others? You should know, and this concept of this keyword it's very important. Okay, cool. Now what I will do, I will say mark is an object dot calc age equals to 2. Okay, nothing fancy. Before that, what I will do, not instead of 2, I will assign a function to it so that it becomes a method function. Okay, and console.log this. Now if I do mark dot calc age, it's a function, so parenthesis is required in our terminal. I will just comment this out. So now instead of doing like this, calc age instead of doing like this, what I have done, I have created a separate method, like with the help of dot operator. We can, if we can edit the value, we can also append the value. So if calc age was not here, it will append this key here. But if calc age was there, it would have been edited that value, whatever we are having. And here also I will do this. Now if you see, calc age is defined in mark also, and calc age has been defined in John object also. And both the methods, these are methods, are doing the exact same thing. What is it? It is console.log this value and calculating the age, exactly the same. and we are writing 2 times. But we don't want to do like this. We want to somehow use, if we want to use this calcage method in our mark also, so that we can make our code shorter and we don't have to compile it again and again. So we know use of this assignment operator. Now what I will do, I will say mark dot calcage will be equals to John dot calcage. Sorry. So what I'm done, I have assigned John.calcage. Just see, I am not calling out this method. I'm just saying that whatever is this John.calcage is there, please assign to calcage also. And then I'm doing mark.calcage. So what will happen? Mark.calcage, there is no property up till now. This key will be added. This key will be added, and then John.calcage, it will come John calcage, and then take this function, it will take this function and will append it to John.calcage. Now if you do mark.calcage, let's see the output, and definitely we are able to extract this function in mark also. We can see mark dot name dot mark, year of birth, and calcage, all that stuff. To be more precise, what I will do, console.log mark, and let's see the output. And definitely we can see name is equals to the mark, year of birth, and calcage. This method has been added with the help of John.calcage. And this is known as method borrowing. We are borrowing this method from one object into another and using it. Why? Because the method which we want is doing exact same thing which we want in another. So why to write two separate code for one thing? So now what I want you to guys to do, we did this yesterday we did this problem. That is coding problem 6, tip calculator. I don't want you to just write the whole code again. What I want to do, copy that code of challenge, copy the solution of that 6 and try to do with the help of method borrowing. There you would have created two separate method and doing the exact same thing. Exact same thing. How? First for the John and then for the mark, base mark. Because in mark also it is given, because mark is also doing the exact same thing, that is giving the tip as 20% if it is less than $100 and 10% all this. Now you have to make use of method borrowing. It should be the same. Tip calculation should be exactly the same. Like John should be 20% of the bill if it is less than 50, 15% when the bill is between 50 and 200, and 10% if it is less than more than $200. So Mark and John will be given the exact same tip. Create two functions in one. Create two objects. In one object you will be having a method, let's say John. In mark you will borrow the method of John and you will print it out the result. So it should, as you have done this problem yesterday itself, so it should not take more than 15 or 20 minutes. All you have to do is modify your code. Okay, so see you after 20-15 minutes. Who is Sagar? I forgot again.
Sir, it's me, Lakshmikant, sir.
Oh, okay. So only three guys have only done Dikshit, Shreya, and Sagar. Shreya and Dikshit, you have done correctly. Sagar, I'm checking yours. What is the problem? Sagar, you have done regarding BMI. You have sent the wrong pic, Sagar, I guess. It's of BMI.
Okay, sir, I will do now.
What about others? Guru, Chetan, Nikhil. How much time it will take for you guys to complete? Ten minutes. Oh, that's a lot of time. What about others? Chetan, Nikhil. How much time for you guys? Stop. Four each. Okay. Again, I will send it in a few minutes. Just now, someone has WhatsApp. So you have done tip equals to an empty array, total equals to empty array. Yesterday also I told one of you not to use because within the function we can assign the values. No need of just putting an empty array in an array while creating an object. So it's not required. You can just remove it off from there. How what you will do within the calculative function, there you write this dot tip empty array, this dot total empty array. Sorry. And rest all is fine. Goller has sent me this code, right? Am I pronouncing correct?
Yes, sir. It's me.
Glorious.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you don't have to write tip and total empty array in an object. You do it within a function. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Rest all is correct. Rest of you have to compulsory send me this solution after the class. And Guru, you have still not sent yesterday's challenge. You said that you will be sending me afterwards, but you didn't send. That's quite wrong. But if you say, you should do it. right?
Yes, sir. I
And
have finished now, sir.
both yesterday's also and today's also. So we have today we did a lot of stuff, hoisting all this scoping. Now let's move on. Now, what else is left? So this slide, our basics first slide has been done. Now let's move on to ES6. What ES6 provides us. So as you know, ES6 has a lot of things which we are using till now. So ES6 is quite famous. ES7, ES8 doesn't have much of the updates. So if you are learning ES6, it means that you are learning the modern JavaScript. You don't have to think that ES8 and ES7 are having something. They are having a bit of things, but those are not that much necessary. And those are some behind the work what JavaScript does. Now let's move on. What a new ES6 provides us. Variable declarations, although we have seen with the help of a var keyword, but here we will see something like let and the const keywords. Then there's something known as block and ifs. Ifs are something of ES5 and blocks are something of ES6. So we will do the comparison between them. Strings, we have all this in the strings. We will write A, B, C, D within single quotes or double quotes. And we can't do much with the strings in ES5. But in ES6, strings have a whole new way of concept. Then comes the arrow functions, which two of the people are using in coding challenges. Then there's something known as destructuring, which is a lot of importance. Arrays we have already seen. It's just few more things have been added to arrays. Spread operator, rest in default parameters are concerned with functions. Then there's something known as maps, classes and subclasses. Classes and subclasses we will directly do in React. And then promises are also very important, which will be done directly in React itself, and native modules also we will see in React directly. So in this slide, we will do from variable declaration up till maps. Let's move on then. So first of all, we are having variable declarations. So in ES5, we know we use var name, whatever name, Jane Smith, var age 5, whatever, and we can print it out. And we can edit it, update it also if we want. Then in ES6, we can do something like const name, let age. That's the difference between them. Again, I will go ahead to my VS Code. Here I will create a new file. You guys also create a new file. My ES6.js. By the way, you guys haven't copied all this. Just after the class, I will send you this PDF. You have to execute on your own. Just don't see. You have to execute on your own and then see all these differences. So here we will do variables. First, I will do ES6, ES5. Here I will do var name equals to Alex and var age equals to 20. But how about ES6? Here what I will do, I will write const name is already present. So I will say name. Day. That's it. And straight away we got an error. It says type what type of error we are getting. Type error assignment to constant variable. So as the name suggests const means constant. If we need some variable should have a constant value. And when it is required in big programs, or we say in React, where we will be having a very big applications. At the time we will be having a lot of variables. And at some point of time we need one value in all the places, and it should not get changed, updated. Or it may happen that a lot of people are working together on some application, and so they will be not knowing what all variables have been declared by other developers. So at the time const is useful. If some developer want this value should not be changed, at the time he can use the const keyword. So const means constant. If you want a value should not change, then there's something known as let. I will say let age equals to 21, and here age I will do equals to 22. I will comment this out, it's wrong. Age has already been defined. I will say age 1 and age 1. And we are not getting any error. So let is exactly same as var, but what is the convention? We use let when we want to change the value, but we don't want to change the data type. Here, our data type is number, so we can do like this. No one is stopping us to do this, and it will not give us an error. But it is just a convention, programming convention, just to make our life easy. We should use let only when we want to change the value, but we don't want to change the data type. And that's the difference. So this was a brief introduction about variables. Now coming to the scoping of variables. Again, we have already seen what do you mean by scoping of variables. Scoping of variables. I will comment all these again, no need for us. PS5. So here what I will do, I will create one function. Okay, I am creating one function. I will say adult, and I am expecting some value, and I'm expecting some bool value, and I will say if boolval, if it is true, I will assign name equals to mark, sorry, while age equals to 25. And now I will say log name is having is age now. Before I output, I want you to tell me the result. What should be the output? Are you guys there? What's the output? I have created one function named adult. I'm passing one value, Boolean value, as the name suggests, and if it is true, I'm declaring and initializing two variables, that is name and age. Make sure that it is within the if statement, and afterwards I'm doing console.log name and age. What should be the out? Okay, you just tell me this should be an error, or we will get some output. Just two cases, tell me. Guys, press response. Okay. Mark is 25-year-old. Mark is undefined. Undefined. Okay, let's see. And we got Mark is 25-year-old. I will tell you the reason why we are getting like this afterwards. Before that, tell me the output of this now. What should be an output? Error, undefined. What else? Output error undefined. Who said undefined? Guru. And undefined. Undefined is the correct answer. Let's see what is happening. So we have created one function, and I'm saying if bool value is true, let's make it true here. If it is true, two variables will be declared and initialized, and it will be printed. So why we are getting why it is getting printed, although we are declaring only within this if statement. And the reason is because if you go to our slides, in very first slide, I'm saying that ESI variables are functional scope, are having our functional scope, and ES6 variables are block scope. This will come to it later. So if we see this is our function, this curly braces. So these are functional block. So whenever we are using a var keyword, so even if we are declaring within this within any block, like if for also you can say for loop, while loop, these are simple blocks, and function is also block. But all this if loop, for loop, while loop, whatever, these are within this curly braces, and hence we are getting an output because var is a functional function scope. But when we are doing false, what is happening? This if statement is not getting executed. If it is not getting executed, and as soon as we are coming here name and age, it is giving us undefined. Why? Because before our function will execute, that parser will be there. Parser will be knowing that there is something known as name and age. We are having a variable name and age, and we are just having the variable, but we are not initializing. It will be initialized when our function will be running. Our function will get executed, and hence at the time we are getting undefined and not an error. So how about ES6? What I will do, I will copy all this, comment it out, and here I will say instead of flag, instead of var, I will use let, and I will make it true. Anyone want to try and give the output before I console.log before I show you the output? Anyone wants to try? Undefined. Very good. Others? Undefined. Let's see. And now we are getting an error. We are not even getting an undefined also. Why exactly it is happening? Again, we will go to our slides. Here we are saying ES6 variables are block scope. What is block scope? Block scope means this curly braces. Whenever we are writing this curly braces, it is one block. And within this, if we are writing again, so we are having this inner scope and this outer scope. So here we are getting an error. This is because we are within this if block, and if block is having this curly braces, and it will not, this range, or we can say scope of this variable is within this block, that is if block. We are not getting outside of this block, and hence we are getting an error. Whereas in var, we were getting the output mark is 25-year-old. So you have to just remember what is the key takeaway point. You have to remember that ES6 variables are block scope. We have to know till where that variable is having the scope, and till where we can use it. So var you can say as a global scope value, because even if we define within if, we can extract after this if statement. So if I want to print it out, what I have to do, I have to take it inside. Now if we do like this, and now we are getting the desired output, that is mark is 25-year-old, all this. Or another ways, we can make this variables name and age in functional scope. Now this block is having this name and age keyword is having the scope of this whole function, and if we do again console, again we will get the desired output. But at that time there is no use of bool because we are declaring it outside. But I will put it inside just to people know. So that's what we have done. I've created one function, driving license, pass test. If it doesn't pass the test, I'm writing var first name equals to John, var year of birth equals to this, and console will log this. We will get our output. But same thing, if you are doing like this, we will get an error. What type of an error we will get? We will get a reference error. Whenever we are trying to extract any variable which is not in that scope, we will always get a reference error. So you have to just keep in mind types of error, and there's something known as type error also, which we saw earlier. Type error we will get when two variables have been assigned with the same name. What I did here, var name equals to this and var name equals to this. Later I changed to name one. Next thing is hoisting of variables. Now, hoisting of variables we have already seen today itself. Again, we will see what is the difference. Hoisting. As usual, first we will do ES5. I will say log a and var a equals to hello JS. What's the output, anyone? Please unmute and say.
Undefined, sir.
Undefined. Log b, and here I will do let b equals to hello again. Now let's see. So first of all, we are getting undefined. That is absolutely correct because we are logging out before we have assigned the value. Parser is just knowing that there is a variable, and variable object has defined this variable object with a value undefined by default. But now, if same thing has been done in ES6 way, we will get a reference error. So why all these restrictions have been put? All these restrictions have been put once all this Angular, React, Vue, JS Vue has come, because all these modern frameworks will be having a lot of files. As you can see in web development, we create a lot of HTML files. Along with the HTML files, we create a lot of JavaScript files. So with the help of var keyword, we can't restrict our limitations of that value. So that's why there was a need for creating such restrictions. So key takeaway again, we can't access the value. We can't even access the undefined value before the variable has been declared. Okay, but if we do something like this, log b, what should be the output? Here we will get an error. I will just comment it out. What we should get here?
Hello.
Our what?
Hello.
Yeah.
We'll get hello, sir, as an output.
Oh no, just see again. I have removed hello. I'm
No,
asking the output at line number 52. I've changed the code. Just see
there,
again.
sir. There.
Undefined, sir.
Undefined, and at line number 54.
Hello, sir.
Hello. So undefined, first undefined we are getting from line number 46. Second undefined we are getting from line number 52. And third we are getting here. So in order to get undefined, in order to use the variable, first variable has to be declared in ES6 way. Okay. So that's what we have done. So next is block and ifs, which we'll be seeing tomorrow. Any doubts up till now? Mostly regarding this keyword and execution context, which was quite different and it is difficult. Anyone have any questions? No. Others? So mostly we have done everything in JavaScript in traditional way. Start executing a lot of programs. Those who are finding a difficulty, like the people who are doing these challenges really slow.
Hello. Hello. जी. Hello.